All right, guys, we are now live. I want to welcome everybody to our weekly Conversations with Cougars, and I've got one of Northview's very best with me tonight. Good evening, Kevin. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, David. How about you, Bernard?
I'm doing just great. For those of you who don't know Kevin, then you haven't followed the Northview or Alabama football programs. You've been living under a rock. Kevin played in the late 80s, early 90s for Harry Wayne and Coach Whitcomb, and then went from junior college on to Alabama, where he had such a successful career that Sports Illustrated placed him or voted him on the Alabama all-time roster. And such great career at Alabama, a great career at Northview, and we're going to get into all those things. But Kevin, I do want to thank you for stopping by for a little bit tonight. I've been looking forward to our conversation for a while, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Gosh, we got so many folks rolling in here, Kevin. I'm not going to be able to name them all as we go, but I'll do my best. We got Coach Hicks, Tracy Donnell, Eric Easley, David Mims, Josh Andrews, LaRue Freeman, Jason Mullins, Hunter Parrish, and I'm sure more are going to roll in. So they're all here to hear from you tonight.
Oh, David Mendel.
Well, guys, uh, the last time you may have seen Kevin on a sidelines, he was coaching at Dothan High, and we'll give him a pass for that for tonight. We're not going to be in a negative space here, but we're going to talk about everything. And
Yes, sir.
let's start there, and we'll work our way backwards, Kevin. How is
Okay.
it that you ended up on the Dothan High sidelines as their head coach for a couple of seasons? I think that was
What?
in 16 and 17.
Yeah, but before then, I was 6 years there as a defensive coordinator. And how I got there, I was in Mobile. Matter of fact, with Ronnie Cottrell. Coach Cottrell coached at Florida State, and he was the coach at Alabama. And he called me one day. He was leaving Ozark and got the head coach at Alma Bryant. And went down to Alma Bryant, was a defense coordinator down there for 2 years for him. And he left and went to Tallahassee, to Leon High School. I stayed down there and got the job, a defense coordinator job at Theodore High School for the summer. And Kevis White was at Alabama with me, and his brother, LaRon White, was my roommate at Alabama when I got there. And Kevis called me up during the summer, and I came down about 2 weeks before, and they was doing a 7-on-7 at Westgate against Northview, matter of fact. And I was coaching those guys up and whatever, and Kevis called me back. His defense coordinator left and went down to, I think, Birmingham or somewhere. And he called me and asked me, would I be interested in coming back and being at Dothan High and being the defense coordinator. And at that time, my kids were at Dothan High. I had a ninth grader there, I had a 10th grader there, and I had a 11th grader there. So that was a great opportunity for me to come back home and be with my kids and plus be a coach at the same time.
So you were the defensive coordinator for 6 seasons, and then did you leave and come back, or did you go from the DC job to the head job?
I went from the DC job to the head job. I got there in 2011, and I was the DC all the way until I think 16, and then I got the head coaching job 17 and 18.
Well, I gotta ask, what was it like being on the Dothan High sideline, that Circle City Classic matchup every year? How did you had to put away your emotions for at least that game, but that must have been strange being on the opposite sideline.
It was. I caught a lot of grief on that too, man. I got a lot of my Northview guys went to bat on me on that. And most important was it was about my kids, and I was trying to get back home. And but when I got there to Dothan High and fell in love with the kids, fell in love with the program, just fell in love with just coaching those guys, to trying to get to the next level and being a father figure to those guys and trying to let them know how playing in this game would teach you a way of life.
Well, I know you did. I know you did a quite admirable job all of those years, but there's other players and coaches who've been at both schools. Janaski Fleming is one. Cantaloupe has been up at Enterprise for years. I'm
Yeah.
sure there are many others. They just don't come to mind. But let's step back because I know you're out of coaching now. You're working with Jimmy Raines and Great Southern Wood and doing a big job for those guys. I know that it's like all of us, we're just kind of grounded for a while, at least through the end of the month, according to the governor. But we'll see what she has to say in a week. But I know you got to miss some part of you's got to miss being on a field or being competitive. How do you deal with that these days?
Well, Jimmy came to me when I first got there, and when they hired me, Jimmy got a grandson that goes to Houston Academy. And so they got me over there coaching a little bit with the JV. They wanted me to do the varsity team, and I was like, no. I said I will help a little bit with the JV. I don't want any Saturdays and Sunday meetings or anything like that. I love to play on Monday nights and get it on over with and teach these kids the fundamentals and get them to the next level or get them to the varsity level. But yeah, he asked me to step in and would I help those guys out over there. So that's what I do, and they give me a range to go help those kids out and go to the games and stuff like that. It's been wonderful. So that's how I keep my little itch in the game by coaching a little bit on the JV squad at Houston Academy.
Excellent. You know, your coaches never actually retire. They just, I guess, eventually they just have to go home. But let's, Kevin, we got a bunch of other folks. Damon Glasgow, Jason Keel, Charles Bronson, Kimberly Raspberry, a bunch of folks have rolled in. And Mullen says, strictly business at that time when you were coaching at Dothan. He knows you're a Cougar at heart.
Oh yeah, I'm always a Cougar at heart, but at the same time, when you're there, you put all your heart into where you're there, and you got to set them things aside. And that's just like, when you do anything else. I was a Northview guy at heart, but at the same time, I owed it to those kids over there and give them the very best opportunity to win and the very best opportunity to be successful.
Well, let's step back in time now, Kevin, for a little bit. I know a little bit about you. I know you played for Ronnie Mendham and the Bombers.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ronnie Mendham and the Bombers and how awesome were those teams and those lessons that you learned from Coach Mendham.
Hey, that's where it all started. That guy, he was one of the greatest guys, greatest coach, greatest person that one of them that came into my life at that time. And man, if it wasn't for him just pushing me and showing me the ropes and showing me what I need to do and showing me just everything about life and about football and about character, and he came in my life at the right time. I was in elementary school at Wilson Street, running around, doing all kinds of craziness things, and he sat me down. I did a flip out there, just playing around. Did a flip, and he came. He said, "Hey, have you ever played football before?" And I said, "No, sir." He said, I'm coming to talk to you and your mom." So he showed up at my house the next day, and my mom got me to playing, and I rode to school. She said, "Well, I can't take him to practice now. I have to work. I don't get off work to a certain time of the night." And he said, "Hey, don't worry about it. We'll pick him up. We'll bring him home. We'll feed him." And he was just a great inspiration in my life to start me off. And he kept in touch with me and until the time he left this earth. And he was a wonderful, wonderful guy. And I owe all my success to him.
What ages or what grades did you play with the Bombers?
11. I was 9, 10, 11.
I had the misfortune of playing for the Colts my years, and we always went up against the Bombers, and we on the chin. Those teams, they were tough. They just
we had a great squad. Cliff Mendham played, Marvin Mitchell played with us, Willie White played with us. I think Rivas Gertman played with us. John Page. Reed Dove. I mean, we Lee Robbins. We had a great little squad, and man, we played good together, and man, we stayed as like a family.
Well, I was going to say a bunch of y'all went on from there to Honeysuckle and played for Coach Creel, if I remember correctly.
Yes, Tina Baxley, Willie White, Marvin Mitchell. We all went to Honeysuckle and played and had a great team. Rivas Gertman, all of us played, and we did a great job. We didn't lose a game in Honeysuckle as a football or basketball team for 2 years.
Well, I was going to say, from a football standpoint, you had one of the very best in Dothan in Philip Creel. He
Coach
really
Creel,
was such a coaching legend.
yeah, Coach Creel was awesome. He was another guy that came in right after Mr. Mendham and showed me the right way, how to prepare for high school and how to read guards, how to read this. And he was more technique sound and wanted me to get very technique sound, technique savage. And when I got to Northview, it was very easy. I mean, very easy because I was learning up under Coach Creel, and he worked our butts down. And but we loved it. We loved it. We practiced hard. We got after each other. And at the same time, he loved us, and we had a great time there. And like I said, we didn't lose a game at Honeysuckle for 2 years, and we didn't lose a basketball game for 2 years. And we tried to do the trike thing and lost it at the last minute for trike to be.
Well, Mark Saffold gives you a shout out. We've
Tell
got
Mark I said hey.
I assume Mark's still with us right now. Michelle Andrews is with us. Angela Thornton is with us. There's a bunch of folks rolling through here. Jason Mullins gives you another shout. Oh, Miss C is with us. There's so many rolling through here, Kevin. It's hard for me to keep up, but I'm trying my best to see them all on there. So, what neighborhood did you grow up during your middle school years?
My middle school years, I moved to. I was living in the projects at the time, and when I first went with the Bombers, I was in the projects, and then moved over to Hetland Avenue, around the corner from Wilson Street, and it was. We had a neighborhood full of football players. Willie White, the White family, Joseph White.
Go ahead. I was just getting ready to say, I bet you're about to name a whole bunch of neighbors who also ended up being great athletes.
Yes, Willie White, Joseph White, Terrence White, Jody White, Kalima Thompson, Damian Glasgow, Marvin Mitchell, Warren Johnson. I mean, it was all types of people that lived over there. And what we did was we got together and played football. You had the Springfield. You had all kinds of Springfield. We played tackle football in the road, but you had to tackle on the side of the road. If you was close to the grass, you was getting tackled. But anything in the middle of the road,
going down. Oh, that's awesome. Great childhood memories, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I remember those. And we used to play kill the man with the ball, just throw the ball up in the air, and whoever catch it, get the ball and we try to hurt them. And we had a great time. And the good thing about our neighborhood, we went from basketball season, football season, everybody played football. And when basketball season came, we put down the football and everybody played basketball. Then baseball season came, and it was just a neighborhood where everybody just joined in and just played together, and it kept us out of trouble too. That was the main purpose on that end. It kept everybody out of trouble, and everybody was focused on one thing, trying to get to the next level.
Now, when you left middle school and went over to Northview in the late 80s, 88, I think, did some of your neighbors, these same guys who you've been growing up playing sports with, did some of them go to Dothan High and some of them go to Northview, or did everybody in your neighborhood go to Northview?
Everybody in my neighborhood went to Northview, and most of that Honeysuckle clique went to Northview too. And we stayed together for a while at Northview. I mean, we stayed together and went on to Northview. That's why we were pretty good my 11th grade year.
Well, let's talk about, we'll get to those years in a second, but let's talk about, when was the first time you went to Northview to see its campus? What was your impression of the campus and then all of the athletics that you saw?
Well, at first, Bernard, I was a Dothan High guy. Coach. I had a coach. Ladder was my PE coach at Wilson Street,
Mm-hmm.
and he was coaching at Dothan High at the time too. So my uncle was the running back at Dothan High, Dennis Tillman, and so Coach Golden had me as a manager at Dothan High. I was a manager at Dothan High for 4 years,
Let
and
me
used to
pause
go.
you. Kevin, let me pause you because LaRue Freeman, who was my fullback, he knew back in 85 that you were on their sidelines as a manager because Dennis Tillman is my age. And
Yes.
side note, Dennis was one of the fastest running backs at any level I'd ever played against or watched. He was a special talent. He was a good football player.
He was a good football player, and so I was over there. So everything I did, I used to leave with Coach Ladder at after school and go over there and do practice with him and all. Or on Fridays, I leave with Coach Ladder early and check out of school, go eat steaks and all, go to the movies like they used to do. And so my mom moved. My mom moved at the last minute. And all my family went to Dothan High. Every last one of my folks was Dothan High people. Nice. And Coach Golden knew that. And Coach Golden tried to talk to me. So when I got to Honeysuckle, things changed. Coach Parrish started coming over. We started going over to Northview. And, when I went over to Northview for my first time, I fell in love with that place. And it was a wonderful place, wonderful feeling. The teacher was great. The teacher was wonderful over there, just embracing us over there at the first time we went. The coach was embracing us over there when we went the first time. And it was just a great feeling, like when you felt like you was at home at that time.
Now, who were your ninth grade coaches at that time?
Well, I didn't play ninth grade. I played varsity in my ninth grade year.
All right. Well, then let's skip ninth grade team, and let's talk about your experience getting to play up.
Yeah, I played a little eighth grade. My eighth grade, I went to Northview over to play with the ninth grade a little bit because of grade-wise situations.
Now, Rivas just joined us. You want to repeat all that horrible stuff you just said about him? Or should we move on? We should keep going.
Oh, yeah. Rivas was a good football player.
I'm kidding with you, Rivas. We were just messing. He was giving you a good shout out. But, Kevin, let's talk about that. Your first high school experience, was that on the varsity level? Did you play any JV? Talk to us about that.
Well, when I got to Northview, I had 3 years to play. And my eighth grade year, I got skipped over to Northview that first year. Mm-hmm. And they put me straight on. We played my eighth grade year. Me, Willie White, and somebody else played ninth grade for 3 games. And they told us we couldn't play no more. And we was undefeated that year. Then the next year we came over with our ninth grade year, and I was behind a year because I was behind a year of my class, so I had to go to Holly Turner to catch up. And then I started playing the varsity level.
Okay, well, talk to us about that first game or what you remember dressing out and running through the goalposts and through the banner with the team. And seeing all those fans. I know you had been on the sidelines as a kid, but you had a very specific role back then. You were running footballs or whatever they needed. You weren't worried about stepping between the lines and being the guy. You didn't worry about the things you worried about as you got a little older. So I want you to take us back to that time period.
I can remember that time period because we was playing Huntsville. We was playing and I had a good running back named Chris Anderson. And that was my first game playing outside linebacker, me and Tracy Donnell. Tracy Donnell was a strong side linebacker. I had to put him at a strong side linebacker because he was the more physical one at the time, and he always take on the fullback, and I make the tackle, and he always get on to me about that. He said, "Man, you need to start taking on the fullback and let me get some tackles sometimes." But I remember that Huntsville game, and we came out, and man, it was a great feeling. It was just good to be finally have on that garnet and gold and playing football at Rivas Stadium that I grew up watching my uncles and my cousins and friends and stuff playing this game. And man, it was awesome. It was the best feeling I had in a lifetime. Just to be out there to show, just play against Huntsville for Northview.
What was a moment that you remember from maybe that first few games where it dawned on you, I'm playing 6A big boy football, and this is the real deal. This isn't middle school, this isn't small football, this is where the men play. And a lot of these guys are going on to the next level to play, so I better step up my game. Did you have one of those moments?
Well, before I started playing there, practice. I had that moment at practice because I knew where I wanted to be at. I knew I wanted to be playing somewhere on Saturday. It didn't matter where, but I knew I wanted to be playing somewhere. And at that time, man, what we did in my neighborhood, that we got ourselves together and we had a plan that we was gonna go somewhere and play somewhere, and we were gonna play hard at Northview, and we were gonna try to win a championship. That was our thing in our neighborhood. Bring Northview a championship, especially us younger guys looking at the older guys, because they had already won 2 championships. So we was like, we need to win one when we get there. So those pride things was already done when I got there. They was already taken care of. I was ready, but at the same time, I was still needing to learn a lot more. But at the same time, I think that Coach Parrish and all the other coaches got us ready, and we had a great time, and it was wonderful that first game.
I bet some of your practices were as tough as any games that you probably played in.
We had a couple of great practices. We had a couple of great fights. Man, one thing about me and one thing about a lot of guys in our defense, all of us was friends, but Jackson had a defense. And we just got it. But after it was over, we were back hanging out, friends, whatever. But when we crossed that field, when we crossed them streets and crossed that track, nobody was friends with us. We take it personal. Offense, defense, Coach Parrish, before the end of the practice, he lined the ball up on the 5-yard line. He gonna tell you, we going here, and we gonna go four plays here. You stop us. Whoever stops us, have to run. We defense win, offense run. Defense win, offense run. But we was very we went after each other every single day, and Coach did a great job. He bust out us. He practiced hard, went around, and doing what we supposed to do. And he made us bang our cards on the field and put the lights up all night long.
Kevin, you've got a low bandwidth. It's coming in and out, but I can hear you okay. But if you drop off, just come back into it. Can you hear me okay still? He may just have a little bit of bandwidth issue going on, but he'll come back in just a second. I'm looking at some of these comments. Kevin, if you can hear me okay, I knew that you played a lot of defense, but maybe a lot of people don't know that you had another talent on the field that occasionally you were called in to do. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah, I used to run the ball like I ball a lot with some guys to Northview. Me and Tracy Stanlow, we went on both sides. We played both sides of the ball then, and he used us pretty well, and he did a great job with us.
Well, I'm also referring to you punting.
Oh yeah, I did punt the ball. I punted the ball. Well, and the crazy thing about him, I punted the ball with the ball too. I started that in with the Redskins and the Boy Club, and I punted with.
We'll wait for him to come back. I think he's in the. You never know with the internet; it gets spotty from time.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you for about 15 seconds there, bud. You were talking about punting, that you learned that pretty young. Let me share some of these comments while you're coming back in, okay? Jason Mullins obviously is quite quite fond of all of your Oklahoma drills that you guys used to run. Rivas mentions the punting, that you actually faked a punt and ran it for a touchdown. Donnell said y'all had a very physical team. I remember that, Tracy. I used to go to all of David and most of Robert's games back in the day. Rivas says that neighborhood football was big back in the day, from Wilson Street all the way up to Headland Avenue on both sides. I bet there was a bunch of athletes that were playing in those games. And Tracy, Tracy said that y'all used to have to let the offensive win, so so Coach Parrish would call practice most of the time. That's so great. And Shirley
Yeah,
C, Miss C says to tell you hello. Yeah, y'all's defense was probably stronger than the offense most of the time back then.
yeah, we had a great defense. We had some great players that don't get mentioned as much as they should get mentioned. Like I said, Will White, probably best defense end that I played with, and he was 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", and probably 165 soaking wet. But I can tell you, he gave his all. He gave his all. And you had Aaron Harmon, you had Carlin Williams, you had Damian Canyon, you had Bruce Gervin. Those guys, Tracy Donnell, he I love him. You know, before he come to me when I came there, I would have been there. A lot of scouts came and watched, you know, my junior year, and that's how I got seen.
Kevin, let's try something, bud, because you're kind of going in and out on us. Why don't you get out of the session and then come right back in it? And let's see if that improves things. And I'll just read some of the comments to folks, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Martin Andrews, want to welcome you, bud, for watching with us. Reeves, I didn't realize you guys had been teammates, you and Kevin, from the boys club all the way through Honeysuckle and to Northview. That's pretty cool. I had a couple of teammates the same way that we played for 8 or 9 years together. There's nothing better than having teammates that you know where they're going to be and what they're going to do. And